Hi, it's Rayleigh here from Sunflower Stitches and Quilting. This is a little bit of a side quest, shall we say. I am going to make a cover for this box behind me to house my Christmas tree, because the box that it came in, it's looking a little worse for wear. So it's been retied, the straps around it numerous times, and it's falling apart. So I was able to find this box, and whilst it's a good size box, right, it's upside down at the moment, this is the lid, it's probably not as strong as it could be. Plus, it gets stored in this room, which is where I film stuff for you. So if it ends up in a video, just, a little bit in a corner, because the Christmas tree's up there in that corner, I don't really want it to be obvious that it's a Christmas tree. So it'd be nice if I had a bit of a cover. So come along with me. We're going to make a cover for this box so that it sits nicely. It'll keep the dust out. The box will go inside the bag, and it will have handles so that I can easily carry it out when it's time to put the tree up. Because let's face it, the tree gets used once a year, and in the meantime it gets stored. So another reason I wanted the box is that I'd like to keep the creepy crawlies out. So if I can make a cover that's mostly enclosed, then I think we're all going to be happier. So let's get making a cover for this box. So I'm using this fabric, and I will give you a close-up of the fabric. It is green. It does have some berries on it and stuff, so it could be construed as a Christmas fabric. But overall it'll look nicer than the brown box, shall we say. And so what I have done is, this is the two ends, right, these rectangles, so they will sort of go on each end. This fabric here goes all the way from the top, because remember the box is upside down, all the way around to the top this side, and then there is an overlap as well. And on my other table I've got handles that will go all the way around as well, and that will reinforce the carrying of the box, so to make it slightly stronger. So that's the plan. So this length of fabric, I have measured this side and then added another, because of the other side, across the bottom, and then how much do I want it to be able to meet in the middle. So, which is a little bit more than the width of the box. So if you want to do something similar, you're going to have to measure whatever box you've got. So it's no use giving you measurements, because it depends on the box. So this basically goes all the way that way. Oh, I folded it in half. I was thinking, why is that not fitting? So it works out to be quite nicely, basically the width of a length of like normal patchwork fabric. Is this a bit of an expensive use of patchwork fabric? Yes. But will it make me happy? Also yes. So I have got, that's what it's sort of going to look like, basically, with straps of handles, which are in the same fabric, so they're not going to be as visible. So I'll walk you through the sewing as I've done it and show you step by step what I did. This is one of the ends. So I have done a very narrow hem on the top. You can see I've used a bone colored thread, and so I've also found the center of the bottom. Now this little notch here is the center of my length of fabric, which goes all the way around. So this, in essence, this one would match the one on the other side, and it goes along the very center of the bottom of the box. And we're going to match up the center of this side, and I'm just going to stay away from the selvage. I'm not going to cut that off because it's going to be in a box. It's sort of a storage cover. I'm not going to worry about trimming this. So line up my center of my bottom with the center of the larger piece, and I'm going to pin that in place. I'm going to do the same just at regular intervals along the bottom, what is the bottom of the cover. When I get to the corner, let's move this slightly more into focus or into middle of screen for you. I am going to go from my seam allowance. I'm actually going to pin at an angle, and my pin comes out where my seam allowance. I've got about a 1 centimeter seam allowance. Then what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to cut with my scissors. I'm going to cut not this piece, I'm going to cut the underneath, so the larger piece, at an angle so that it almost gets to that point. So my cut finishes here, and where my seam allowance will be is here, and that will help me get around the corner, because we're going to bring this way and sew up the side, but I need to be able to, you know, get around the corner of this long piece. So I'm just making it easier. I will need to cut just a little bit further just to get around and straighten that out. That sort of has to come over so that I can actually do that spin. You see, so there's my pin in the corner. Some high contrast pins would be good. So you sort of have to put that, the underneath fabric, you need to fold that out of the way, and then we can finish pinning up this side, ready for sewing. So I'm going to do that to the other side as well, but I will show you because I've already done the other side, so I will grab that end and show you. All right, hopefully you can see this. So these are the two corners. So this is the side, and then it's sewn up the side as well. I have also, I'll just come a bit closer so you can see I've got a stitching line, and I've also zigzagged because this piece had a raw edge, whereas this has the selvage. So when it comes to this corner, this side, you know, there's the rest of it that wants to flip. So if we pull it through, or I don't know whether I can show you. It's a bit hard to demonstrate, especially when I've made it all matching. Anyway, this is the outside, and basically I've just joined it in to that other bit. What will I do here? Well, I am going to stitch this, put a seam on it, but I'll also do that. I'll do that when I do this top seam as well. Once I've checked on the box how much of a seam I need to do along the top, I will stitch this side bit down so that it is neat. But right now I'm going to go and stitch the other side. This is how we're looking so far. So what I have done is put it in the box. This is the side. Now, yes, it is a bit looser than the box. That's because I didn't really trim it down to fit the box perfectly, because one day there might be a different box, but it will still do the job. So I have pinned these the wrong way because I'm just getting an idea of how much overlap there was, and so I'm going to make a seam, make a hem along the top, and as I said, I'll fold in this edge here. What I'm going to use to close this up is cam snaps. So this will be basically a 3-layer hem on both sides, so that will be plenty strong enough, keeping in mind it gets used, you know, once a year. And then on this side I'll also do a couple of cam snaps, probably here and here, to hold the sides up on either end as well. Now when you're doing something like this, sometimes it's easier to put the handles in place before you create the box. I haven't done that because I wasn't quite sure whether this would, we're making this on the fly. So it will be something that I'm going to have to pin in place pretty carefully so that I can then run it through the machine and put those handles on. So essentially those handles will go from this side, probably from about here, all the way down underneath and up the other side, and then another handle here so that there are looped handles. That's the plan. I'll be back soon. Here is my finished box, or box cover. So let's fill you in on what I've done since the last little clip. What I have got, if I can turn to the end, so I've got my end sections. I did the hem on the side here, and then the two down the middle. One of them I got a little bit big on, so I did have to redo that and make it narrower so that it overlapped more. The reason I want it to overlap is, I don't know whether you can see these brighter green things. These are cam snaps. So what I have is 5 along the top, and so you can see, hopefully see that there, and they literally clip apart and then clip back together. There we go. I have 2 on the sides, 2 on each end as well, here and here, to keep this side up so that it all stays looking a bit neat. And let's just have a look at the handles. So the handles might look quite long, but I figured that's probably going to be really helpful actually. And what I've done, so I turned it over and centered it on the bottom, found the 2 center points like on either end of a loop. So I made basically a big loop of this. I used 4 widths of the fabric, and they've been doubled over and then folded in half. So this is 4 layers of fabric to make a nice sturdy handle, and then centered it on the bottom so that these loops are even basically. Once I got to the sides, you can see I've angled it slightly so that it does this. It just means that I think there'll be less stress pulling on this bit. All I've done is bar tacked it here and in 3 more places underneath and also on the other side. So if I decide I want to change my mind, I only have to unpick a bar tack. It is a double bar tack, so it goes all the way across. I will show you some up close photos of that. And so if I do change my mind, I can always undo that and put it in a new spot. But basically this is my new Christmas tree box cover. So it's just a random box, and pull all this apart. I do have a few more threads to trim, but that's about it. And very easily, so it will actually fall off the box, but the box has a lid, and so I can put my Christmas tree and a lot of my Christmas decorations in this box. It keeps it all together, and it will be nice and neat. So I will hope you liked seeing this. Let me know in the comments if this has inspired you to make your own. Otherwise, see you on the next video.